runways. In Sweden, a public road can become a runway for the Swedish Air Force's fighter jets. This incredible practice is the bedrock of Sweden's defense strategy, known as Agile Combat Deployment. The concept originates from the Cold War and addresses a single point of failure, airbases. The goal is dispersal. If an enemy were to attack and destroy primary airbases, the Air Force must be able to operate from dozens of temporary wartime locations. Like these specially reinforced highway strips, the Gripen fighter jet was engineered for this role, featuring reinforced landing gear to handle rougher surfaces. This ability to refuel, rearm, and then disappear turns a quiet road into a resilient, combat-ready base, ensuring the Air Force remains operational and incredibly difficult to neutralize.
Three months into our NATO membership, I'd say Sweden is stronger and safer, and the alliance is also stronger with us as an ally, especially here in Northern Europe. This is a very long tradition. Today we call it Agile Combat Deployment or dispersed ops. For us, I call it normal operations. We started in the 60s to design the system. You must remember, Sweden, non-allied country, neighbor to Soviet Union, we have always perceived the threat from east, that we have to be able to leave our Air Force bases very rapidly. And this is a part of that. So I'd say it's a part of our DNA. I think Sweden is punching above our weight when it comes to many things. And we have a long tradition of domestic arms manufacturing in all arenas or domains, but especially, of course, when we talk Air Force here, it's a fighter tradition. We started to build our own fighters during World War II, and we have continued ever since. Then, of course, a Gripen fighter of today is a multinational corporation. There are many different subsystems from many different countries, but this design is Swedish, and some of the key elements of the fighter is Swedish. Some of the design features that we can see here when it's taxiing behind me on the runway, designed for 800 meters runway length and designed to be handled by conscripts in the field.
You're quite vulnerable at a main airbase if you get a cruise missile attack or whatever you see in Ukraine. You know, the whole base can be destroyed. There is no way to lift off with your aircraft or land and refuel and so on. So with this system you have like multiple small road strip all over the country, so we can just drop down at one that is active. So it's good for survivability in wartime, I would say. Since it's a lot shorter and narrower, you have to be more careful where to point your nose, of course. And you don't have that much margin in case anything goes wrong, you know. Since this is not anything we do every day, we have a painted kind of this runway on the main runway, so we train there every day and so. But now it's for real, of course. You have another extra punches on your heart, of course. But it feels good to be a part of NATO, and it feels like you're backed up with a lot of resources, and we can also back up NATO with our resources, our country and those kind of airstrips.
Well, the biggest advantage of using highway landing strips is that you could have more possibilities, and you could move around to more takeoff and landing surfaces.